This workshop is about sort of dancing, defining grief, and dreaming a future together that is sort of encompasses our grief and moves beyond it. And why am I beginning this workshop with grief? I loved this quote that I found on Instagram that things end to begin again. And like the butterfly wings, we can sort of transport, transmute, and transform our stories because we are stories. And our stories show us what we have survived, and they can take us, they can follow us into the present if they're not released and if we don't begin to embody them. So, the reason that I'm focusing on embodying our stories of grief is that we do have stories that are important to carry with us, particularly when it comes to the loss of a loved one, that we want to hold on to those memories or we want to hold on to those moments that bring fondness and that are familiar to us. But other parts of stories and other parts of grief can get in the way or keep old patterns and old stories and old traumas alive. Creative arts practices, and particularly embodied practices, really allow us to honor what happened and to release or transform them. Anna Halprin, one of the founders of the expressive arts therapy program that I trained in, says, "Every experience that I've had in my life is a resource in my body." So that is really the intention of the workshop today. Today we are going to explore what does grief mean, not in sort of a larger sense, but to you personally, and what shapes can express this definition in your body, and then how we can hold all of these definitions and meanings and dance with them into our daily lives. And then we'll end with, what do you stand for in the world, and how do you claim this ground for yourself amidst a world that is full of grief and destruction and chaos at the moment? So let me stop this share, and I'm going to begin with an exercise that some people can find really annoying, but if you stick with it, one of the points is that you deal with the frustration and the repetition to get beyond sort of what first comes up so that we can get to those deeper layers that are more connected to your soul and your true authentic expression. So we're going to take about 12 minutes to go through this exercise. I'm going to repeat the same question and give you 2 minutes to just kind of free write on it. And it really is sort of not thinking, but just putting the pen to paper and answering the question. And I will repeat it 6 times, and you will have different answers for each. But again, most people do find a point where it becomes really frustrating and they just want it to be over. So that is a natural part of the process. So try to stay with it if those feelings come up. So if you have some paper to write with, or if you prefer to just type on your computer, that's fine. It does help, though, to actually have the physical hand to paper. But just begin with the question, what does grief mean to you? And what does grief mean to you? Definitely encourage you to keep writing for the full 2 minutes if you can. And what does grief mean to you? 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 Take a few seconds to finish that thought or sentence. And when you're ready, just look back over what you've written and circle any words that stand out to you or phrases, ones that you feel really present in the moment. So take a minute to kind of feel into those words that you've circled, and I am going to put on some different music than the one I can hear. And See if you can give those words an expression. So, this could be just as simple as like a fist that you twist or turn, or as elaborate as a full out dance if you feel called to do that in your space. But just find some sort of physical expression of what those words that you circled are, or those phrases. Let me share my audio. Just, your screen if that's more. It's those movements with natural flow.
I can't hear you, unfortunately.
We can't hear you over the music.
Yes, so just bringing those to a natural completion for now. Mhm. And so next, I'd love to hear sort of what is happening for you with the movement expressions, with the words, and if any thoughts or feelings or emotions are coming up, if you feel comfortable sharing. And so this is the thing that sort of the point of this exercise is that opening of our definitions of grief, because we can think of grief in one way, but there are so many ways of grieving and so many different relationships we have to grief in all of its forms. And that actually leads me into the graphic I wanted to share with you just about that process and why I did repeat it 6 times. Um, can you see this image?
Yes.
Okay, great. So, the soul based coaching training that I've done uses this exercise called the powers of six, or the meta drivers, because a trauma specialist, a therapist based out of the UK, he discovered in his work with clients that if you repeat things 6 times, each time can kind of build up to transformation. That the first time it's like an exclamation, this is what something is. The second time reinforces that. The third time expands the awareness of what this means for us. The fourth time can kind of wobble. This is where people, with the fourth and fifth, which deconstructs sort of what came before, both of these can be where people start to lose interest in the exercise. But if we move through that, we get to sort of that transformational expression that, oh yeah, this is a new insight or some new information for me. So that is why I did the exercise 6 times. Hopefully get to some of that new inspiration.
Okay.
You always see happy faces when people go into breakout rooms for these things. And there is a reason for that. I wanted to share this quote. See if I can. I love you, as in tell me the stories of those you love who have passed over. Let me see them in you. I loved this quote that I found about, grief and what it can mean to us, and the power that comes when we let people see our stories. So, you all, I'm sure, have experienced that from the breakout and the happy faces that returned. So, so I wanted to kind of return to our own personal explorations of what was generated in the breakout rooms or the duos that you had with each other. What felt supportive? What felt new? What felt like something you want to take forward with you after this workshop into your lives? And again, see if you can give that a shape or expression in your body. And if you feel more comfortable with the screen off as you move, that is fine. Um, if you want to be witnessed, leave your screen on and let me see you. But I'm gonna play this song and just see what you can give shape to for that newness and what you're imagining for the future. All right. If there were any words or emotions or sensations that felt supportive as you were exploring that or that was generated in your breakout rooms, take a minute to jot those down if you need a reminder. Mm. And when you're ready, I invite you to find a place in your room, just kind of walk around the room that you're in. And when you feel like, oh yeah, this is a spot that feels like there's some energy or that this is a place that can hold me, stop at that point in your room. Yes, do it now. Yeah, and just yeah, you can feel it out. If it's a different room, that's fine too. Just make sure you can hear me. And when you found the spot that has some energy and presence for you that can really hold you, you can if you close your eyes or if that doesn't feel comfortable, you can leave them open with a soft gaze, but just imagine that from your hips all the way down to the center of the earth, there are roots surrounding you and securing you into the core of our earth and the ground. If it helps, you can imagine it sort of fanning out around you like a skirt or a kilt. When you feel that, just take in what difference that makes for you. What physical sensations or thoughts or emotions come up when you have this skirt or kilt rooting you to the earth? And you might recall some of the words you just wrote down and feel into all of this is like what? Does that root contraption have a shape, a size, or a color for you? And when you feel sort of the new senses or the old senses of what this is like, experiment a bit by moving one foot and then the other. What happens to that root, skirt, or kilt when you add some movement? And when you feel ready, take that root, skirt, or kilt through the room until you find another spot that's calling to you. And once you've found that new spot, feel these roots going into the ground that you're standing on in this new place, going deep down into the earth again. And just think, what do I stand for? Allowing whatever answer comes to come to you. And when you're ready, move to another spot. And once you've found that new spot, again ask, what do I stand for? And again, find another spot to root down into the ground and ask, what do I stand for? And then find one more spot that you can root into and ask, what do I stand for? And then again, ask, all of this is like what? Does this have a shape, a size, a color, a texture, a feeling? And from wherever you are, I'm going to put on another song and just move with whatever comes to you naturally.
Rows and flows of angel hair and ice cream castles in the air and feather canyons everywhere. Looked at clouds that way, but now they only block the sun. They rain and they snow on everyone. So many things I would have done, but clouds got in my way. I've looked at clouds from both sides now, from up and down, still somehow it's cloud illusions I recall. I really don't know clouds at all. Moons and Junes and Ferris wheels, the dizzy dancing way that you feel as every fairy tale comes true. I've looked at love that way, But now it's just another show, and you leave 'em laughing when you go. And if you can, don't let them know. Don't give yourself away. I've looked at love from both sides now, from give and take. And still somehow it's love's illusions that I recall. I really don't know love. I really don't know love at all. Tears and fears and feeling proud to say I love you right out loud. Dreams and schemes and circus crowds. I've looked at life that way. Oh, but now, old friends, they're acting strange. And they shake their heads and they tell me that I've changed. Well, something's lost, but something's gained in living every day. I've looked at life from both sides now, from win and lose, and still somehow it's life's illusions I recall. I really don't know life at all. It's life's illusions that I recall. I really don't know life. I really don't know life at all.
Mm. And when you're ready, just let that movement release. And come on back when you're ready. And if you want, you can just take a minute to jot down any new information, any new sensations, any new feelings or thoughts that arose in that, particularly anything that feels supportive. allowing roots to hold you in whatever way or shape that takes, allowing your own space to hold you. And we didn't go through all 6 iterations because we did not have time. However, in the future, if you want to do that exercise in your space, I really invite you to also do that 6 times to allow yourself that full process of transformation in an emergent way in a space. Another way is if there is a landscape that is supportive for you. Some people love water, some people love sort of fields of flowers, any sort of landscape to take yourself there. And again, see what parts of that field or that water base or whatever that landscape is called to you, and use the space that way and ask, what do I stand for? Or all of this is like what? Because that question helps bring it to a metaphor. And when we have a symbol or a metaphor for what we're feeling is like, we can explore that through movement or through creativity or draw it. So those are some things that I invite you to do if you feel called to. And I want to share a final um, slide with you that is, I have my business, Dialogical Persona Healing Arts, and this was about embodying our stories. I do offer, you can find on my website, Dialogical Persona there, a free Express Yourself Wellness check-in session for 60 minutes for anybody who hasn't worked with me before. So if you feel like this has brought up some things that you'd like some extra support with, please go to my website and you can book with me directly there for that free session. And thank you for being here. This was really beautiful to witness all of you.